Okay, now if this is your y equals x squared function, your vertical stretch factor 0.02 means what? What's the vertically stretched graph going to look like? Yeah, it's going to be 50 times closer to the x-axis than this one, right? Well, you move every point, you multiply every point by, every y-coordinate by 0.02, right? Okay? So, your vertically stretched graph, whatever this y-coordinate is going to become 1/50 of what it is, and it's almost going to look like a straight line down here, right? So your vertically stretched graph y equals 0.02 x squared, okay? What can you do with that? Well, it's kind of hard to then, if your scale here is from -2 to 2, it's kind of hard to find 120 over there, right? Okay? So maybe what you do is you do something like this. Okay, so let's just say this is a point where x is 2. And -2. You're going to want a scale where 120 is like here, and maybe 40 is here. Okay? So while I'm gone, kind of think of how you would go from here to here. Don't worry too much about, what you really want to do is you want a graph of 0.02 x squared, okay, which might look something like this, okay? What x values would be reasonable to use if you wanted to plot this function, just a 0.02 x squared? Like if you use x equals 2, you're going to get 0.08, right? Well, on the scale of this graph, that's ridiculous, okay? So what would you do? What kind of x values would give you reasonable numbers that you could actually see on this graph? Like, what if x was 10? What would you get? You'd get 2, right? 10 squared is 100. 0.02 times 100 is 2. Still not big enough, okay? What if x was 100? What's 100 squared? Well, it's 10,000. What's 0.02 times 10,000? 200, right? That's probably too big. Yeah, I mean, you might well get 200, right? Okay? So, what we might do is pick a few x's. Like maybe 100 might be too big, might not be. Okay? So let's just kind of do that. Let's say x goes from -100 because, if we get 200 for the y value, well, 200's up about here. That's not ridiculous, okay? It's not a ridiculous value. So we go negative 100, maybe negative 50, maybe negative 25, 0, 25. 25, 50, 100. So go ahead and evaluate that. Sketch this graph and then do your horizontal and vertical transformations. See how that works out. Make sense? Sketch the graph, do the horizontal and vertical transformations. You can talk about it, but try to do what you can yourself, then start talking, okay? Don't just sit there and copy down what somebody's figured out how to do. Although, if that's your last resort, go ahead, but try not to.